Thanks for joining us today. I'm here to talk to you guys about Bluetooth. The department has been experimenting with Bluetooth for the past year or so. Training has used it extensively. We've used it at American Cities building. In fact, if you came to American Cities and did the Mayday training, you should have had a chance to get your hands on it and play with it a little bit. And Station 7 has trialed Bluetooth on the engine and truck officer positions for probably 6 months or more with very little problems, only good things. The Bluetooth itself is only active when we're on air. So the good thing about the Bluetooth and how it works with our radios and our breathing apparatus is you don't have to do anything different. Whatever you're doing today, as far as setting up your radio, where you're wearing your lapel mic, all that stuff stays the same. Once you clip in and go on air, that's when the Bluetooth is going to be active. So you need to continue to have your lapel mic where you normally do, because when you're talking on it, you need to be able to communicate on it. It's only active when you go on air, and then when you go off air is when it disconnects. So that's the Bluetooth. It's great technology. The great thing about it, and what we've found and what we've learned about it from the manufacturers, is that when it works great. If for some reason it doesn't work, which we haven't had that happen yet, but if for some reason it doesn't work, your equipment's going to work the same way it does today. So we're giving you some technology that's going to enhance the performance and the communications, and it's a piece of technology that if it goes away, it's not going to change anything. But so far, we have not had an issue with it failing. So with that intro and a little bit about how Bluetooth works, I'm going to talk to you about the components of it and what the Bluetooth is. So there's three components to the Bluetooth. There's the SCBA, which we have really much interaction with. We have the radio, and we have a key fob. The key fob is the secret to this whole thing working. So we'll talk about these three things a little bit more in depth. So the key to this working is we got to tag in to the breathing apparatus with the key fob that's assigned to the radio. This is the same process you would do every morning when you tag in with your personal. So I've tagged into this morning. So what I need to do is I push one of the green buttons until my screen lights up. Once that lights up, I'll push the red button. At that point, I'll tag in. You'll notice it went immediately green, and it has Captain John Merson written on it. So you're not going to get an indication that this tag is tied to the pack other than it turned green. If it's yellow or red, that means it didn't accept it. So right now, I've now tagged the radio into this pack. Now we use the key fob to tag in. We don't need the key fob anymore. The key fob tied the radio to the pack, but now we need the radio to find the pack. So a couple things that we need to work with. When you turn the radio on, it's going to go through its normal cycle. The purple button on the side, this turns your Bluetooth on and off. So you push it once, the Bluetooth's off. You push it again, the Bluetooth's on. The Bluetooth on icon is going to show up if I push Bluetooth on. Let me turn it back on there. The Bluetooth came on, your little icon, just like you do on your phone. It's on the front screen as well as on the it's on the front screen as well as on the top of the screen. You get a Bluetooth icon. So we're going to go back to the front of the screen again. So with the Bluetooth on, we know that the Bluetooth's on. It's active, but we need to turn the pack on at this point. It's important to note, if you push and hold the purple button, it will clear the Bluetooth out of the radio. You don't want to hold the purple button down. You just want to press it once to on, press it twice, press it again for off. I'm going to reach across and turn the pack on. The pack's going to go through its normal startup process. It's going to take a few minutes to do that. It's going to go through its beeps, its bonks, do its thing. What you're eventually going to see on the screen of the radio is a pair request. And now you're going to want to accept that. Once the pack goes through, again, it's going to take a couple seconds. So now I'm getting a pair request. I want to accept that. So once it pairs, the pair is accepted, and up in the top corner, you're going to see the Bluetooth icon is now highlighted blue and it's flashing. That means that this radio now recognizes that pack. These two are tied together. It's important that we can no longer, if you get your radio in the morning and you're riding 61B position and you tie 61B to the pack, you can't switch packs and you can't switch radios. Is your radio still going to work? Is the breathing apparatus still going to work? Yes, but your Bluetooth is not. So you have to tie your radios to your packs, tag in the morning, and they should stay tied together. At this point, this radio and this pack is tied together for life until a couple things happen. One of them is you remove the battery from the pack, which typically on a weekly or when the battery gets low, we do that. If we remove the battery from the pack and put a new battery in, we simply have to go through the tagging in process. Once you go through the tag in process, the radio is automatically going to try to pair to the pack, and you just got to accept the request again. So there's not much to it. If your radio breaks and you take it to the radio shop, you're going to get a new radio. At that point, you need to take the fob with you, and the radio shop has the ability to reprogram that fob to the new radio, and then you'll have to go through the pairing process again. But unless you take the battery out of pack, for 90% of what we do, these are going to stay paired for life. If you replace the battery in the pack, or if you get a new radio, then you'll have to go through the pairing process. And that's done for a couple reasons. One is to not store these informations as you get a loaner pack and makes it through the fleet. We would start accumulating Bluetooth identifications and cause problems for us. They'll pair and they'll connect and then they'll disconnect, basically saying, hey, we see each other. At that point, everything stays the same as it does today. Only when you go on air is when the Bluetooth is going to be activated. So I'm going to go on air, and what you're going to hear is I'm going to go on air, then I'm going to click in. I'm going to go put face piece in, then I'm going to click in. After a few seconds after I click in, the radio is going to make a noise, and hopefully you'll be able to pick that up. And that's saying now that we're active with Bluetooth. And the blinking Bluetooth blue icon will then turn solid blue. And that's when you're going to know you're connected. So I'm going to go through that process.
So, I don't know how well you can hear me, talking to a face piece. So, I don't know if you heard the beep, it came on, and the Bluetooth icon turned blue. Now, I'm solely talking on Bluetooth now. When I key up, I still have to push the talk. I'm not active on Bluetooth like you would be on in your car. I still have to use the push to talk either on the radio or the lapel mic. It should still be here. It should still be in the same spot I always use it, because if my Bluetooth fails, then I just talk on the radio like I do today. If I disconnect, after about 10 seconds, the radio is going to disconnect. Now I'm back to a regular radio again. So there's a little bit of lag time there, but I clip in. The radio connects. I disconnect. And the radio should go back to a normal operation again.
Kind of reviewing the daily check again. We powered up, and because someone was talking Alpha 1, we didn't get the audible. So I want to make sure we get that audible so you know. So my radio's on, it's on Alpha 3. I'm going to go ahead and turn the pack on. I've ensured my Bluetooth is on, my little icon's up. Once the pack does its power up, you're going to hear it connect and disconnect. So it connected and disconnected. They found each other. At this point, we're good to go. We know our pack's tied to our radio. We can go about our normal check. If you want to go on air at that point and put your face piece, clip in, make sure all that works, at that point is when you'll get it will connect again and stay connected because you're on air. So that's your morning check. So what happens if it doesn't connect? What happens if the pair request doesn't happen? So we'll talk about that for a second. So let's go through the process of checking that out. So I'm going to shut this down for a second to simulate a problem. with the pack off, go back. So with the pack off, I'm going to disconnect the battery to simulate putting a new battery in to the pack. So we went ahead. At this point, I've cleared the Bluetooth from the pack. Now I have to go through pairing the process again. Excuse me. I'll get my key fob, which hopefully is in the apparatus. My pack is powering up. I'm going to go ahead and power my pack up. I'm going to hold my buttons, fob in with my radio, key fob. It turns green, says Captain Merson, because you're not going to get an ID for this fob. At that point, the radio is going to want to try to find it again because we got rid of it. If it doesn't try to pair right away, which sometimes it doesn't, it's a real simple process. There's a Bluetooth button on your portable. You'll push the Bluetooth button, you'll go down to devices, hit select. You'll see the device there, you'll hit connect. Now I got a pair request. Once that pair request comes up, I hit OK. It connected and disconnected. So that's the process for, I took the battery out, I fob back in, I turn the radio on, I wait for the pair request to come up, hit OK, or you can force it into pair request by just going to the Bluetooth button, hitting select devices, and then it will come up at that point. So it's important to note that when you take the battery out of the pack, like we said, it clears the device from the pack. It clears the Bluetooth ID from the pack. And that's going to happen anytime you replace the battery. If this pack goes out of service and you have to get a loaner pack, my recommendation is as soon as this pack goes out of service and you're taking it out, the first thing you need to do is take the battery out of it. Send it to the shop, send it to get fixed, do whatever you got to do with it. When you get your loaner pack from the shop or wherever it comes from, then you'll need to fob back in. But you want to clear that device out of that pack so you can tag into the new pack. And then when you get your pack back from the shop, clear it from the reserve pack. If not, as that reserve pack moves through the fleet, it's going to start to acquire Bluetooth IDs. So take the battery out of the pack as you go from a front line to a reserve pack. And that's going to help maintain the system. So that's Bluetooth in a nutshell. It's really a great technology. I use it extensively in the training environment. We use it in American cities. Station 7 has used it on some actual fires. The feedback from the members, officers, chiefs that were running it, it's much clearer communications. It's three pieces of equipment. It's the pack, the key fob, the radio. The biggest change for us is that this key fob has to be stayed with this radio. At least has to stay with the apparatus. So these will be kept on the apparatus. And then the only time you'll have to use them is if you take the battery out of the pack or you get a new portable. The technology works. It's very reliable. Excuse me. If it fails back to what you're doing today, and you don't lose any functionality other than a little bit clearer communications when you're actually on air. So get out there, use it, check out the video, watch it with your shifts. There'll be some literature coming out with it as well. Call me if you have a problem. Todd at the VA shop is very familiar with the operation of it. Harry with the radio shop is very familiar with the operation of it. So it's great technology. Hopefully it will improve communications for us. Stay safe out there and know your equipment.